All right, guys, welcome back to yet another episode of Literally Me. It's your boy Tristan here, speaking per usual, and I'm joined alongside my main man Dino. How you doing over there in Germany today?
I'm holding up. We're recording. This is the earliest we've
This is
done
an
yet.
early pod. Early
It's 3 in
pod.
the morning for you. Like, what time is it right now?
It's 8:30 in the morning on a beautiful Sunday morning right now, and I don't know about anyone else personally. There's nowhere else I'd rather be than talking to my boy about this pretty messed up movie today.
Same. Which movie did we watch? Do you want to let
So
the audience know?
yeah, this week's episode is on the 1998 film Festin, or the American title, The Celebration. It's the first Dogma 95 movie from Thomas Vinterberg. A pretty intense viewing, but something that I still haven't been able to shake out of my mind, and I'm super anxious to talk about it with you. But before we do that, it hasn't been that long, I don't think, since we
Mhm.
recorded last, but I know we've both been busy. There's been anything that you've been watching in the last week or so?
Yeah, I didn't get to a lot because I already mentioned to you I had work that was pretty insane and also a lot of studying per
Hmm.
usual. I'm currently rewatching the Indiana Jones films because, as you
Hell yeah, the
know,
new one's coming out.
next week is my week. I absolutely cannot wait to watch the new Indiana Jones. So my girlfriend has never seen the Indiana Jones films, so I'm
Really?
rewatching them and then showing her for the first time.
Heck yeah.
So I've been doing that, and there's one film I want to talk about that I saw, which I'm curious to hear if you've seen it,
Okay.
because I'm currently, you know, doing some for my boy Harrison Ford, watching
Okay.
some of his
Oh,
film.
I know it. I know what you're gonna say because I saw it popped
Ye-
up on your
Have you
letterbox.
seen The Witness, or like Witness?
Yes, love that movie.
Yeah,
Great
I've seen it
movie.
for the first. I've seen clips of it, obviously, especially that corn scene. That is just
Yeah.
insane. But I watched it for the first time, like fully, and it's a very cool movie. I liked it, and you love it as well. You just said.
Hmm.
When was the
It's an
first time
interesting
you've
one.
seen it? Have you like? Is it a long time ago or?
Not that long, like within the last 5 years, probably. Like it
Mhm,
wasn't like something I watched as a kid.
mhm.
Um, I don't know. Actually, I'm curious because I'm gonna look at my letterboxed for it because I
You
have a
haven't
feeling
looked it.
then I've seen it over
Yeah.
5 years ago then before I got
Okay.
letterboxed. Um,
Mhm,
but yeah, very good movie, and Lucas Haas is a very cute little Amish kid in it.
mhm. It was a very interesting film because I didn't expect it to go that route. I thought it would stay that thriller, like crime thriller. And
Yeah.
then halfway through the film, he just chills with the Amish people.
Yeah, he becomes an Amish guy,
He
right?
becomes an Amish.
Essentially.
It was so fun. It was so fun seeing that, and just Harrison Ford in that weird suit that he has with the hat on.
Yes, the hat on.
Just looked so funny. And fun fact, this podcast is actually the number one movie podcast among the Amish people, if you guys didn't know. So
Wait, are you being serious right now?
no, they don't even have
Okay,
internet. So
I was gonna say, damn. I thought we had some ratings come in that you saw from Pennsylvania or something.
imagine just secretly listening to this podcast. They might
Yeah,
now because we mentioned this movie,
yeah.
but yeah, very fun movie. And it's very interesting for me to see Amish culture because we don't have
Don't
that
have
over
it
here.
there. Yeah,
So I've
yep.
only seen it in media, and this was a very deep dive into Amish culture. So
It's super
very
cool. And there's yeah, I didn't think about that, how there is no like Amish life in
mm,
like overseas, that it's a very America thing. There's one
mhm,
community in Florida about maybe about an hour south of where I live.
mhm,
Um and those are the only Amish that I've seen like in person. Like not like I'm saying it like they're leprechauns or something, but like the only community that I've ever actually like stepped into, and like because they've built sort of like a little community there, and they have little stores and everything they make, whether it be food or clothing or like little trinkets or toys. I
mhm.
mean, obviously they're all making it just like handmade, and
Yeah,
it's cool to see it all done in person. And this movie kind of gives you a cool insight because you don't really see it that much in movies. I feel like unless
that's
it's in
true.
like a just a jokey manner.
Yeah. But
Like, oh, look at these goofy Amish people or something.
what I didn't understand, or like they spoke a lot of German, but it was awful. Like I
Really?
didn't understand what they were saying. They're clearly Americans who I don't think they even had like lessons to pronounce it how it is. There was one guy who spoke it pretty well,
Uh,
but the other people, especially the mom, I did not understand what she was saying. It was just gibberish with a German accent, pretty much.
because I think they speak something called like Pennsylvania Dutch, which
Also, it's Dutch.
but
That's why I wanted to ask you because I didn't know like why do they speak German?
so I just looked it up because I'm like, I think they speak Dutch or like Pennsylvania or American Dutch or something. And I looked
Mm-hmm.
it up. It says Pennsylvania Dutch, sometimes referred to as Pennsylvanian German, is a variety of Palatine German, also known as Palatine Dutch, spoken by the Pennsylvania Amish. And so it's it's not traditional
Mm-hmm.
German. It says here they understand German. It's their mother tongue. However, it's a bit different from the modern German dialects spoken in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. The early Amish settlers hailed from German-speaking countries, so their like language has changed kind of over
Mm-hmm.
time. But I think it's a mix of Dutch, German. It's like a
Yeah.
weird westernized Amish
Mhm.
thing, though.
Then I take back what I said. Maybe they had lessons. It's just the dialect they speak.
Yeah, and I think it
But
might
yeah,
be
it
a
was
different language, really. I
yeah.
think at this point now it's different.
Because some words I understood, but they pronounce it differently. But that's probably the
Yeah,
reason why. So, but yeah, it was very cool film. I liked it a lot, and especially the core and death scene. I mean, that's iconic.
yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
an awesome movie. And at Harrison Ford, there's and maybe you know one that I don't, but I don't think there's a single like Harrison Ford thriller that is not awesome. Like literally not
Yep.
one that I can think of.
And I want to watch more of them because I've seen a couple, but I wanted to go like deeper in his filmography and catch up on the films I haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
I think
Have you
this might have been my favorite thriller of his that I've
have you
seen so far.
seen have you seen The Fugitive?
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah,
That one is
that
also
one
great.
that
But I need
movie's
to
dope.
revisit it.
I do too. And
Hmm.
I also want to visit some of those like those Jack Ryan ones that he plays, like
Yeah.
Patriot games and stuff, which I have on DVD here, but I don't think I've seen it.
I went on a like interesting tangent about that because that's the next one I wanted to watch, but I didn't know it was based on the Tom Clancy.
Book,
'Cause
yeah.
I looked it up and then I saw his name is Jack Ryan. I was like, isn't there like a Tom Clancy character? Isn't there like a
Yeah.
TV show with John Krasinski? Isn't there
Yeah.
like another movie? And then I found out it's a movie series like James Bond, and
Yeah.
there's different Jack Ryans. There's also The Hunt for Red October, which is also a Jack Ryan movie. I didn't know all
Yeah.
that.
Which
So,
I didn't know that either until recently. I was talking with one of my cousins and he told me that. But then there's another sequel to Patriot Games
mhm.
with Harrison Ford though.
There's two with him, yeah.
I forget what that one is called. I'm gonna
One
have to
is
look it up.
Patriot Game, and the other one is I should know it because
Clear and present danger.
yeah, he's done a
I
couple
think
of those.
yeah, I think I mean he's done so many of these, and I feel like a lot of these I thought were like Jack Ryan, but I think they're just sort of like him. But it looks
That's
like
why.
yeah, Patriot Games came out in '92, and Clear and Present Danger came out 2 years later.
Hmm,
Um, and Hunt for Red October came out in 1990, but no Harrison Ford. I don't think in that one.
hmm,
I think Alec Baldwin plays Jack Ryan in that or
that could
something.
be, yeah. But yeah, that's about the only film I really saw, except for rewatching the Indiana Jones films. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So did you rewatch all of them between?
not yet. I started with Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is still my favorite film of all time, masterpiece.
Uh
And then I watched Temple of Doom, I think 2 or 3 days ago.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna watch the other two before Wednesday or Thursday when Dial of Destiny comes out.
On Friday. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's
Heck yeah.
Thursday for me.
Oh, Thursday night. Yeah, you're right. Probably the same
Yeah.
exact thing here.
Yeah. And I'm excited, very excited, even though there have been like bad reviews so far.
It's to be expected.
Yeah, but honestly, I'm not listening. I'm not listening to critics anyways, and especially not with like an Indiana Jones film because I feel like they're gonna give it a hard time regardless.
Of
Because a lot of
course.
people they don't want to see they feel like it should have ended with the third one, which okay, maybe the fourth one wasn't as good, but I'm still excited just to see how it ends. And
The third
I mean,
one being The
Indiana
Last
Jones.
Crusade.
They should have. A lot of people say it should have ended it with Last Crusade, but there's Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which
The Shia LaBeouf one.
yeah, which I have to rewatch it because I'm not sure. Maybe I like it more, maybe appreciate it more. I hope so.
Yeah,
I still don't like the whole alien thing, and of course, there's the fridge, the
that was
nuke
weird.
fridge.
That
That's
was so
weird, of
weird.
course, but I just hope I appreciate the movie more because I haven't seen it, I think, since it came out. So
Neither have I. I saw it in theaters and never again. I
yeah,
remember not liking it when it came out, though.
yeah. I just hope I appreciate it more, and if not, I'm just hope I can appreciate this new one. I'm excited. So yeah,
Heck yeah. I
are you
remember
gonna
when that.
watch it?
What am
Are
I
you
going to
gonna
be
watch it
watching?
then?
I don't know that I'm going to rush to theaters to see it. I still have to
Mhm.
see Across the Spider Verse, which I was supposed to see last weekend.
Yep.
Um, and never did. So that's right now is my go-to. And then come
Priority.
July, you already know I'm about to be in that bitch all day for Oppenheimer and Barbie. So
Yeah. And
so
Mission
I don't know.
Impossible.
And Mission Impossible. I don't think I'll go see that in theaters either. But when Indiana Jones does come out to stream, I'll probably will check it out.
Okay. There's also, have you seen Asteroid City yet? Because it also came out.
No, I forgot that just came out. I think this weekend for
Yeah.
us here.
I think I'm gonna go after Indiana Jones.
Heck yeah. I think I might go see that this week sometime.
Mhm.
I actually will go see that in theaters. I do enjoy, even though I can be pretty hard on Wes Anderson, I do still go see his movies whenever they come out. And I've heard really good things.
Really? I've heard bad things actually.
Really, I've heard a lot of good things. A lot of people are saying that it's like almost, because I really disliked The French Dispatch. I didn't really
Mhm.
care for that movie. And I think the wide consensus is that not many people really liked it.
Yeah.
So I think maybe a lot of it just might be like, oh, hey, like this is just a much better movie than The French Dispatch. So
Mhm.
it's like getting that. But no, I haven't heard what bad things have you heard? I haven't heard that many negative reviews personally.
Mhm. Well, I just heard a lot of critics saying it's one of his weakest films, like a lot of fans as well, people who like The French Dispatch. So maybe you're hearing from the
Interesting.
things from people who didn't like it, saying it's
Yeah,
better, and I'm hearing from the people who liked it saying it's worse. But I don't know
I'm
if I didn't really
I'm
pay
gonna pull
attention
up.
to. Yeah,
Yeah, 3.8. So
well,
decent, but I
that's
feel
good.
like regardless, he's getting high reviews. Like I bet you French
Yeah,
Dispatch still is. If you had to guess, what do you think French Dispatch is on Letterboxd?
probably a 3.6. I
Three
feel
point.
like.
I think that's fair. I'm gonna say I'm gonna go one more. I'm gonna say 3.7,
Mhm.
and it is. Well, I swear to God, I didn't look. 3.7. Still
Okay.
very high for a movie that is people don't seem to like very much. Like no
Mhm.
matter what, he's gonna get a high
That's true.
review. Which it's crazy. I saw this thing on Instagram where it was talking about like Wes Anderson, uh, like all his films ranked based on like the star review or whatever. And they're like, it's pretty spot on. And it was just Bottle Rocket, like all the way at the very bottom with
Mm.
like a 3.0 or something out of, I was like, this Bottle Rocket is probably better than half the movies he's ever made. So I was like, I
I
don't
think.
exactly know why this
Mhm.
is thrown here at the bottom.
I think a lot of comes down to people just liking his style, and that was like his first film, and
First.
he didn't
Yeah.
like do this style yet. He didn't find this specific style he
Yeah,
does yet,
exactly.
which I think I don't know. I like Bottle Rocket a lot, so I don't think it's fair to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's one of his best films.
Me too. I love Bottle Rocket. I want to revisit Rushmore really bad. I
Mhm.
remember enjoying it when I saw it, but I feel like I didn't get the true appreciation because people like will die like saying like Rushmore is the great Wes Anderson movie or one of the great movies of like the 90s um or early 2000s. I think that was 90s though.
I think so.
Um but yeah, I got to revisit that. Do you have a favorite Wes Anderson movie? Have
I
we
just
talked
wanted
about
to ask
this?
you. I think we did because I wanted to ask you, but then I was thinking, like, did we talk about it? I think we did, but we
Maybe
can still.
briefly, but yeah, remind me, what's your favorite Wes Anderson movie?
Mine is, I think, Moonrise Kingdom.
Moonrise Kingdom. Okay, we did talk about this, I think. I
Yeah,
think Royal Tenenbaums might be my favorite.
yeah, we did. Yeah,
Okay.
we both don't have the best memory, so
Memories. Guys, it's early for me at least this time, so don't blame me too hard.
you can't
Um,
blame me either. I had a hard day at work yesterday,
that's
so
true.
my brain is fried as well.
And
So
we're both still traumatized from this week's movie as well, so we can't
that's
forget
true.
this.
That's true. Before we get into that one, but what did you watch?
Yeah, I've cranked out a decent amount of stuff. I'm still kind of
Mhm,
on my documentary shit. But also just watching a lot of movies that have been on the watch list for a long time.
mhm,
Um, I checked out the other day this movie called Frownland. It was written and directed by Ronald Bronstein, who is a Safdie Brothers collaborator.
mhm,
He wrote and edited, I think, all their movies with them. Like he's been a part of all of them. He was the star of the Safdie Brothers movie Daddy Longlegs.
mhm.
Um, very gross movie. If you want to see a real gross New York movie, go watch it. I have you heard of this movie? Are you familiar with Frownland?
I've heard about it, but I haven't seen Daddy Longlegs.
Yeah, it's a good like lo-fi, independent, shot on 16 millimeter micro budget thing. So for that, I really appreciate it. And
Mhm,
it's kind of my style in that sort of John Cassavetes way or that Sean Baker way, where it's like just capturing these people and not really so focused on any kind of plot or anything.
mhm,
But it's really trying because the guy is obnoxious and unbearable to watch, and it's a gross, very smelly kind of movie like that.
mhm.
Um, but it's interesting to check out because it's a fantastic performance that this guy gives. His name is Doorman. Literally, that's his name, Doorman.
Doorman.
Dore, last name Mann. It sounds like a German kind of name to me.
Yeah. Is it a short film?
No, it's a feature length. It's like an hour 40.
Okay.
It should be shorter though. It certainly could be shorter. But really cool movie, and anything that like the Safdie brothers are somewhat associated with, I'll check out. But I did check out some documentaries, one of which I want to mention is called, which I'm sure you've heard of. I don't know if you've seen it, called Three Identical Strangers.
I've heard about this. Yeah.
I watched it last week, and it is really interesting and really intriguing story. Are you familiar with the story of this doc or this case?
Wasn't that there a guy who like saw someone who looks like him and then found out he has two brothers, like twin brothers
Yeah.
that he
So
didn't know of?
exactly. So this the story
Yeah.
of it's really funny the way they tell it, and I won't get into it. But essentially, this one
Mhm,
guy goes to start his freshman year at college, and when he gets there, everyone starts calling him by a different name. Like, we
mhm,
missed you, we missed you. He's like, this is so weird. People are so nice, and but they're calling me something different. And
mhm,
this kid comes into the room and he looks and he's like, oh my God. He's like, ask him, when's your birthday? Are you adopted? All this. He's like, yes, gives him the date. He's like, you look just like my friend. Hold on. And they go drive and see like his friend, someone who went to that college before but dropped out the year prior.
mhm.
And it's the same person. Like they're twins.
Oh shit.
So this whole story comes out, and this isn't a spoiler. Like this is all in the first couple
Mhm,
minutes of in the setup, and and the story comes out like in the newspaper about these two twins separated at birth, and all the way across the state, this guy wakes up in the morning. He opens the newspaper. He's like, "Holy shit, that's two of me on there." And he calls. He's like, "Hey, I think there's a third one because it says here you guys have my same birthday and you look just like me." And turns out there's three of them.
that's
Um,
crazy.
However, once that comes out, there's some conspiracies as to why they were separated that I won't get into.
Mhm,
Um, that really come to the forefront in a very intriguing and very frustrating way too. But it turned the documentary into something that I wasn't expecting it to be.
mhm,
I thought it was just gonna be like, "Whoa, how cool! These like three guys. It's so random." But there was like it really gets deep, and was not expecting it to go down the rabbit hole that it does, and really a commendable sort of documentary. I think you'd really like it if you can find it. highly recommend watching it.
I need to check it out. But can you imagine just being that guy, just opening the newspaper, just seeing two of like
You,
identical you, basically, like what went through his head? I can't even like
yeah.
fathom it. That's
He said that like when he like came downstairs, or whatever, he like went to the kitchen to his mom. He's like, "Mom, you'll never believe this." And simultaneously, she's like, "No, you'll never believe this." And they both dropped the newspaper like at the same time of
holy cow.
of the front page.
Where did you watch it?
I
Was
watched
it
it on. Let me see, because I put on Letterboxd wherever I watched it. I watched it on Hulu.
on
So
Hulu?
at least it's available Hulu in the States.
Is it a
Um,
Hulu original or is it just on there?
I think it might just be on there,
Okay. I'm
but
trying to see if it's available somewhere for me because I really need to check this out. It's available to rent, so
yeah, I don't think it's an original Hulu thing. It's by CNN Films, like
okay.
their kind of film unit. Um, but
Because
I
the
saw
Hulu
that.
stuff drops on Disney Plus for us.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, that makes sense. They own it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because we
And,
don't
me, and
have Hulu over here.
I wonder if it's streaming though on Disney Plus for you.
It's not.
It's not. Okay.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
it would
Well,
say on Letterbox there's this thing where it's streaming.
the stream. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not saying Disney Plus, but it might be on there because it's not always like right.
Uh-huh.
So I'll search for it. I'll find it.
Okay. Okay. And then one more that I'll just quickly mention, it's crazy because I've actually have seen like such an insane amount and such a wide variety of movies in the last week that I'm
Hmm.
looking here. I'm like, oh, there's a lot to talk about, but I can bring them up in separate
Hmm.
podcasts in the future. But one other that I do want to mention, that I saw, that I don't know if you've seen it, um, but I think you either logged it or it's on your watch list. I remember seeing it pop up, and that was Cold War from 2018.
Cold War. I think it's on my watch list. Let me
Okay,
check.
it's a Polish movie.
It's on my
Um,
watch list. Yeah.
okay, by this guy Paweł Palikowski.
Hmm.
He did the film Ida, which I haven't seen, but I know like got some like Academy Awards or something.
Yep.
And but that movie was recommended to me, and I had heard about it because it was got a lot of Oscar buzz, and it's a really good movie. And I thought about you during it because I'm like, I feel like this is something Dino would really like. Like I
Hmm.
feel like you would really like this movie, and it's quite the it's a really awesome sort of like tragic sort of love story between these two people, but it moves so quickly. It takes place over like almost 2 decades of their lives, but the movie
Hmm.
is literally like 80 minutes flat. Um, and I love the way that it's edited and the way that it moves. And essentially, it focuses on this one Polish woman. It's like during like the Cold War. It's like post war Poland, and she joins like this like singing group, or like
Hmm.
this like band that travels around and performs. And she kind of falls into a relationship with like the conductor, and they have this like real back and forth and kind of rigid relationship. But yeah, it's a really good movie, shot beautifully on black and white,
Hmm.
digitally, but still looks great. And yeah, I think you would really like it. It's a Prime original, so I'm
Hmm.
assuming it's maybe on Prime worldwide,
It should be on Prime then, because it's
but
been
it
on
is
my
it
watch
is
list.
an Amazon original, like 100%.
Okay, I'll see if it's available because sometimes we don't even get yet. It's not an Amazon original over here, which is weird.
Whoa, really?
It's not. It's available, but only to buy for like $4,
Jeez, okay.
and it's streaming on a different platform. That's weird.
That's super weird. The whole international like ownership of films is very, very
Yeah,
weird.
because there's a Val Kilmer, like there's one film. It's a documentary about him,
Is
about
it
his life.
is it the Val doc?
Called just life. Yeah, it's called Val. It's
Val,
on
yeah.
it's an Amazon Prime original, right?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
It's not available over here like at all. I wanted to watch it, and it's just never came out.
Really?
And I think that's so weird because I was really excited because I thought, oh, it's a Prime original, it's gonna drop
Yeah.
everywhere at the same time. It never came out.
Interesting. I'm gonna look into that because I'm curious to know why their own original stuff wouldn't come out internationally. Because the Val is also an incredible doc.
Mhm.
Um, but that's super weird. I figured it would be up there, but as
Because
long as you can
Netflix,
find access, yeah,
yeah, Netflix and Disney Plus always drop it worldwide at the same time
yeah,
for everyone to see it, but Amazon Prime just doesn't do that. So
weird.
yeah,
And
it's only
I
the
could
bigger,
yeah, I could
bigger
see it
film.
maybe for this one because it's one of those films that clearly was financed by like just dozens of people. You know, when you watch those like European art house movies, and it'll
Mhm.
be like 4 minutes of just like presented by in association with like all that stuff in the front. Like there was a whole lot of that. So that's why maybe there's like so many hands in there. Like clearly it was made from a bunch of grants and like things like that.
Yeah,
So there might be restrictions, but if you can find it anywhere streaming at any point, I definitely recommend checking it out. I think you would specifically, I think you would really enjoy it.
yeah. No, no, that's weird. It is on Amazon Prime, but it's available with a different channel on Amazon Prime.
Like the premium subscription thing or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's like a
so weird.
different name, so I don't know. But
Very weird.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, that's about it for what I watched. Like I said, it was a lot of sporadic watching, but
Mm.
those were some of the good ones. And I know before the pod you were saying you had something that you wanted to introduce something new, something different. I'm curious to know what that is.
Well, I have a little game for
Okay, I
you to
love a
play.
game.
And yeah, because 2 episodes ago we introduced the thing where we come up with 4 different letterbox favorites for a character.
Uh,
And of course, people listening can play along and come up with their 4 or whatever, but it's not really that they can guess.
yeah.
So I have a little guessing game for
Okay.
you. So this
Okay.
is how it works. I have a film and I have 3 people who starred in it. And I'm going to give you the names of those 3 actors, and you
Okay.
have to figure out which film they all been in together.
Okay, so wait, hold on. So there's one movie that involves three actors.
So I'm going to give you 3 actor names, and you have to
Okay,
come up with the film they've all been
that
in
they're in.
together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you ready? I'm going to start
I'm
with
ready.
the
Hands are
easier
up. No,
one.
I'm not gonna Google. Okay.
Okay. So the first one is Ryan Gosling,
Okay.
Jeremy Strong, and Marissa Tomei.
Jeremy Strong,
Jeremy Strong, Ryan
as in
Gosling, and
Succession, Jeremy Strong and Ryan Gosling
yep,
together,
yep.
and Marissa Tomei.
hmm It should be an easy one. I'm gonna give you a hint if you don't
Hold on.
come
Let
up.
me let me think here because I've seen obviously a wide variety of Gosling.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Let me and Marissa Tomei.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy Strong from Succession, correct? I know I've already said
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Oh, The Big Short.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted to take one you've seen recently just to
Yeah, yeah. I was like,
give you a
wait, hold on.
smooth
This makes sense
start.
for a sec. Yeah.
hmm Okay, next one. So it's Benedict Wong, Oscar Isaac, and Jennifer Jason Lee, whatever her
Jennifer
name is.
Jason Lee. Yeah. Is this a Marvel movie?
Nope.
Oh, wait, hold on. Jennifer Jason Lee. Uh,
Oscar Isaac and Benedict Wong.
is it like a genre movie, sci-fi, thriller, action, one of those?
It's sci-fi. You've seen it
Sci-fi.
though. You've seen it.
I know I have. This
Mhm.
combo is it's not Ex Machina, is it?
Nope. But you're
Annihilation?
it is
Annihilation?
Annihilation.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I
You
knew it was
got it.
one of those like Alex Garland kind of movies.
hmm
Yeah.
Also didn't want to include like Natalie Portman because I thought that would just be too easy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. I hope this is fun for the people listening because they can just play along and try to
Play
guess
along.
as
Yeah.
well.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull up a couple for you once you complete as well. I have two that I'm
Okay.
gonna pull up for you.
Okay. The next one is Dustin Hoffman, Scarlett Johansson, and Amy Sedaris.
I don't know why I'm blanking on who Amy Sedaris is. I know that name, but I cannot picture who that
Mhm.
is.
I can give you another actor who's been in this film.
Wait, hold on. Let me think first. Dustin Hoffman is because I've seen every Dustin Hoffman movie.
Mhm.
Dustin Hoffman
Hoffman, Scarlett Johansson.
and Scarlett Johansson. So for sure, probably would have been post 2000s in the 2000s
Mhm.
sometime.
Yep.
Can you give me another third actor apart from whoever
Mhm.
it was you said?
Robert Downey Jr. is also in this film. Small role, maybe a cameo, but still in the film.
With Dustin Hoffman. That isn't it isn't like Finding Neverland, is it?
Nope.
Wait, can you? Is this the last one?
I have two more, but we can end it here. I can do it like next week or whatever.
Let me. I really want to think on this one without a hint. Can I get the other one and I can think on on this one?
Okay,
Yeah.
so the next one is Alfred Molina, Clancy Brown, and Jennifer Coolidge.
Oh
This
God.
is a bit of a hard one, to be honest, but you've seen this movie. I made sure of it. So,
Alfred Molina.
mhm. Clancy Brown and Jennifer Coolidge.
Who's Clancy Brown again?
We talked about him. He is the voice of Mr. Krabs, and he also played in a
Oh yeah,
bunch of
yeah, yeah.
films. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I can picture him perfectly. Oh wait, hold
Mhm.
on. Clancy Brown and who again?
Alfred Molina and Jennifer Coolidge. I'll give you one more actress if you need it, because this is
Okay.
a hard one.
Give me one more.
Alison Brie is also in this.
And I've seen this movie.
You've seen it. I'm not gonna give you the main actress,
Okay.
um, because that
Alf
would be too easy, but this is a
Alfred.
hard one.
Let me think. Alfred Molina. It's not Boogie Nights.
Nope.
It's not Spider-Man. Any of the Spider-Man
Nope.
movies. Um.
Imagine if Jennifer Coolidge has been in a Spider-Man movie. I think that that would
That'd
have
be
been cool.
incredible.
Yep.
I'm trying to think what else Jennifer Coolidge. It's not Best in Show or For Your Consideration.
Nope.
I can't even think what else Jennifer Coolidge has been in. I might have to give up on this one.
Yep. I understand. That's a hard one. Do you want to know?
Yeah, who is it? What is
It's
it?
Promising Young Woman.
Promising
Mhm.
Young Woman. I never
Nancy
would have
Brown.
guessed that.
He plays a dad, and Alfred Molina is like the lawyer.
Yeah, I don't remember Jennifer Coolidge in that movie at all.
Yeah, she was in it. I don't know which role she played, but yeah, she's definitely in
Interesting.
it.
That's a good one. I've never
Mhm.
seen that one. But I have one or two for you as well that I thought of. And I wanted to double check on your letterbox as well that you had seen it.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. This could be easy or it could not be. We'll
Mhm.
see. I'm not sure.
Okay. Do you still are you
So
still thinking about the previous one?
yeah, I'm gonna think about that for some
Okay.
time. Can you give
Okay.
me the three again to make sure that I have all three remembered?
So it's Dustin Hoffman,
Scarlett Johansson and
Scarlett
who?
Johansson. I gave you I gave you Amy Sedaris, but you
Oh,
didn't
Sid
know her. So Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr.
But he's just the cameo. So
Okay, I'm gonna do some. It's not like Kung Fu Panda or something, is it?
it's not animated.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
Um, okay, so
Because
here's
this could also get tricky with animated movies, but I chose live action.
yeah, okay, so I'm gonna keep okay, this one I think you've seen. This one I let's see. Okay. It stars Andrew Garfield,
Mm-hmm.
Topher Grace, and Riley Keough.
What the fuck? Um, is that the mainstream?
No. The
It's
movie
not mainstream.
Mainstream that he was in? No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Dude, that's a tough one. I've seen most Andrew Garfield movies.
You've seen this one for sure.
Dude, I'm trying to think about more Andrew Garfield movies, but I'm just blanking.
I could give you more names, but those really are like the three. Sydney Sweeney is in it as like a brief cameo extra. Like I don't think it's like a real, but she's in it. According to Letterbox that I'm looking at now, I could not even tell you what part she
Sydney
plays though.
Sweeney was in a movie with Andrew Garfield and Topher Grace.
Allegedly, but she's all the way at the bottom. I think it was either a cameo or like an early
Okay.
extra thing, maybe.
But I even just
Like
trying to think of a film with Andrew Garfield, Topher Grace. It was Riley Keough? Keough?
KO. Yeah, are you familiar with her?
Yeah, I mean, she's the niece of Elvis Presley, isn't she?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
Her
I've seen
granddaughter even or something. Yeah.
yeah, granddaughter, that could be it. I've seen a couple films from her. From trying to think, dude, I'm just blanking on Andrew Garfield movies in general.
I could give you a hint. I don't want to give it away, but I could give you a hint.
Give me a hand. I'm really
I
bad at this.
Yeah, I'll make it like an obscure kind of hint.
Hmm.
It is let me think. Hold on. I don't want to give it a I don't know if it'll give it away fully. Okay. I'll just do it. It was an A24 film that Andrew Garfield was in.
Huh. Wait.
And I think it will be and is already sort of being looked at as sort of a cult classic sort of thing. Like a
Oh,
not
it's
an
yeah. No, it's
unappreciated.
Under the Civil Lake.
Yes.
But wait, who did Riley Keough play?
She's the main girl, I think.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even recognize because I thought she was blonde in that film, right?
Yes, yeah.
Holy shit, I
She
didn't.
I don't remember if she's the girl who um I'm trying to remember. I don't. I
Uh,
think she's the. I don't know if she's the main girl that goes missing or she's like a girl that becomes. I haven't seen this movie in a long time,
yeah,
but
same. I think
I
she's
th-
one of the girls at the end, maybe, or like she's not the main one he falls in love with, I think.
I think it is.
Is she?
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. But anyway, that's that. I have one more that we can think on as well, and then we
Okay.
can get into
That
our
one was
movie.
hard.
Yeah, I was like, this will either be really hard or really easy because I know
Mhm.
my dude is like locked in
Yep.
with old Andrew Garfield. Yeah,
Mhm.
okay, so it's the main girl that he sees that goes missing or whatever.
That's crazy.
That's Riley Keough. So I have one more.
But the thing is,
Uh
I saw the movie before I knew her, so maybe that's why I'm.
that's probably why. And same
But
same thing with me.
I still blanked on Andrew Garfield films. I could only think of Hacksaw Ridge
Yeah.
and Mainstream. So,
Um Hacksaw Ridge is actually how I got to there. I was like, what? I'm gonna find a movie through a movie we've seen.
mhm. I
And
knew it wasn't that one, but I just couldn't think of another Andrew Garfield film.
yeah. Okay, so I have one more that I'll give you.
Hmm.
Um
Hit me with it.
so it has Lucas Haas.
Hmm.
It has this one might be easy. It has Lucas Haas. It has Toby Maguire, and it has Eric Roberts, Julia Roberts' brother.
Is it Babylon?
Yeah, it's Babylon.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I
I
thought
thought that one
about.
might easy. I just wanted to keep the Lucas Haas connection in there
Yeah,
somehow.
I wanted to do Babylon as well, but I thought that might be too easy.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I and there was too many main actors. I'm like, let me pick some of
Mhm.
these obscure ones, and I think maybe Toby
Yep.
Maguire gave it away as
Definitely.
well.
Definitely.
Um, I'm going to be thinking about this Dustin Hoffman one for a while, though. I promise you, I
Mhm.
will not be doing any Googling, and you might just get a random message from me
Okay.
at some point later in the week. But why don't you say we go ahead and get into this week's
Mhm.
episode and the movie we're all here to talk about?
Hell yeah.
Um, so this week's movie is a first on this pod, a movie that neither of us have seen before today.
Yep. That's
Um,
right.
and that is The Celebration from 1998. by Thomas Vinterberg, also known as Festin.
Hmm.
Um, this is the first film of the Dogma '95 movie or movement that that Vinterberg had started with Lars von Trier, who we've talked about in past weeks.
Hmm.
Um, and well, first and foremost, I'm curious to know your thoughts on this movie
Hmm.
before we get into it or go into like the plot synopsis. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Were you
Hmm.
uncomfortable by it like I was?
Yep. So I'm actually, because I saw it last night after my 10-hour work shift, so it was a very interesting experience, but I haven't seen it. Not a lot, and not enough time has passed for me to fully process this film.
Yeah.
Then again, I don't know how much time can pass for you to process this film. And I'm not sure exactly if I like the movie as like this artistic thing for what it is. It's not
Mm-hmm.
trying to be something else. It is what it is, and I really like and appreciate it for being just itself.
Mm-hmm.
Just not sure if I like the movie as a
Yeah.
whole.
Yeah.
Not sure about that yet, but it's a very chaotic and well made and weird and interesting and uncomfortable film. So yeah.
I think you nailed it on the head. Well, folks,
Mhm.
if you haven't seen Festin, aka the Celebration, definitely pause it now. Come on back. We're about to spoil the heck out of this thing.
Even
But
if you've
one,
seen it, you're not ready.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna go into the plot real quick plot synopsis. Helge is a respected businessman and the family patriarch. They're celebrating his 60th birthday in Denmark at this like old family-run hotel. Gathered together at this party is a whole bunch of family members, including Helge's wife and his three kids. He has an older son, Christian, who we find out was a twin, and his twin sister had just recently killed herself in that family run hotel. They have a younger sister, Helene, and then the youngest brother, Michael. Now, they all come to this house and they all have their very individual kind of quirks, and they're all kind of dealing with clearly something that's going on that we're unaware of, and they're just dealing with it in different ways. Um, anyway, at the dinner for Helge, Christian, the oldest brother, gets up to make a toast, and during the toast, he just very blatantly says that his dad raped him and his twin sister when they were kids, and then moves on. And everybody at the dinner table kind of looks at it and then tries to ignore it in a very weird way. After that, the dad pulls Christian aside and asks him why he did that. Christian, in a weird way, appears to sort of recant what he said and starts apologizing. Um, Meanwhile, in the kitchen, there is a chef named Kim who clearly is aware of the truth of what's going on and is the only person who is trying to help Christian bring it to the forefront for everyone. So meanwhile, he has him and all the cooks and waiters go around stealing people's keys and hiding them so they can't leave. Um, and as the night goes on, Christian goes and gives another toast. Um, this time, giving an even more in-depth account and also blaming his mother for walking in on his dad doing that to them many times and not doing anything. At this point, people get up in arms, and Michael and some of the other family members kick Christian out. They tie him to a tree, and eventually he escapes and he comes back in, and he finds or I guess one of the waitresses finds a suicide note from the twin sister that Christian's sister had hidden, and gives it to Christian, who Christian gives it to Helene to read out. And the suicide note essentially details that what Christian's been saying has been the truth. At which point, the father, Helge, actually admits it in one of the most blatantly, just like unkind ways I have ever heard anyone admit to anything ever.
Mhm.
Um, and it causes a whole bunch of stirs at the dinner. He goes away, and people are unable to leave because their keys have been stolen from them. The following morning, all the family and guests get together. When the father comes in, he excuses himself after admitting to what he did wrong, and he walks out, and we end on a cut of Christian sort of watching him and thinking about what has happened. Which there's a lot more there that we can get into, but for an overall
Mhm.
plot synopsis, that's about as that'll cover all the bases, I suppose.
Yep.
But like I said, a first time watch for both of them. Were you familiar with this movie prior to seeing it though, or familiar with the Dogma '95 movement?
I wasn't, and I'm very curious. I don't know if last time you said you might talk a little bit about the Dogma 95 movement
Yes,
and what
I'd
it
love to go
includes.
through and list the rules. It's essentially a manifesto that they created in order to purify, that's in quotes, filmmaking by like refusing like special effects or post production things or any kind of like tricky Hollywood magic set gimmicks. They wanted something that focused just on performances and story. So they
Mhm.
created these 10 rules, which for the record, I don't think any movie's been made that has actually followed all 10 rules. In fact, this will be a fun game for you too. They broke two of the rules in this very
And this
first
one?
movie
Okay,
immediately. So
interesting.
I'll ask you afterwards if you think which two were broken. But
Okay.
these are the 10 rules of the Dogma '95 manifesto. And again, this was created by Vinterberg, who, if you guys are unfamiliar, he directed The Hunt. He also directed Another Round, which I'm sure people are probably most familiar with him for.
Yep.
And that was created alongside Lars von Trier, that old man. um,
That
so
man, indeed.
that dude. So these are the this is a list of the Dogma rules. Number
Mhm.
one, shooting must be done on location. Props and sets must not be brought in. If a particular prop is necessary for the story, then it must be shot at a location where that could be found.
Mhm.
Um, part two, or I'm sorry, rule two is the sound must never be produced apart from the image or vice versa. And music can't be used unless it actually occurs in the scene, like
Mhm.
playing music in the scene, singing, whatever. Rule number three, the camera must be handheld. Any movement or immobility attainable in the hand is permitted. Um, Number four, the film must be in color, with special lighting not being acceptable. If there's too little light for the scene, then the only additional lamp you could use is or the only additional light you could use is a little lamp on top of the camera that will
Mhm.
illuminate what's in front. Rule number five, optical work and filters are forbidden. Um, Number six, the film must not contain superficial action, meaning no murders, weapons, etc. Things like that cannot occur.
Mhm.
Rule number seven, temporal and geographical alienation is forbidden. That means if the scene takes place in the day, you're filming it during the day. If the film takes
Mhm.
place at night, you are shooting it at night. Rule number eight, no genre movies are acceptable. Number nine, the film format must be an Academy 35 millimeter like ratio. And
Mhm.
then rule number 10, the director must not receive credit at the end of the film. And as I said, two of these rules were broken in the first ever Dogma movie.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm curious to know what you think, because when I tried to think of that, like which
Mhm.
ones um I couldn't think of it, but then it made sense. One of them I did think of. I'm curious to know if you know.
So I think I don't know if it counts, but there was definitely music with the credits. Does that count?
I don't think so.
Okay. So that's
That
not one
wasn't
of the
one of them.
rules
Hmm.
that was broken.
And like
I'm trying to think if
you know how they kept doing all like the sing songs like hurrah hurrah
yeah,
hurrah, or like that racist song guy, like that was a way for them to include music without
yeah.
using music, according to Vinterberg.
Okay. I was just curious if like the end credits are included because there was a song that played, but
Yeah,
okay. I'm trying to think if he received credits at the end because that might be a rule that was broken.
you want to go with that one as a guess?
I'll lock that one in. Yeah.
Eh, no credit was given to Thomas Vinterberg.
Dude.
And if you need me to list out any of the rules briefly, because I know you don't have them that you're looking at them right now.
Yeah.
So the director must not be credited. No genre movies are acceptable.
Hmm.
Um, the film must not contain superficial action, murder, weapons, etc. Optical work and filters are forbidden. Temporal and geographical alienation is meaning has to be shot in the day, has to be shot at night, whatever.
Hmm.
The camera must be handheld, must be in color, and the sound must never be produced apart from the images. Oh, and
Okay.
shooting must be done on location.
I can only think of one more,
Okay,
and that is
take
with
a.
the handheld camera, because I think there were a couple shots where the camera was just in the corner of the room. So that's the only one. Is that one?
It is. It
Okay.
is. I didn't think about that one. The one where it'd be on the top and it almost looked like a security camera sort
Yeah,
of
that's
thing.
why I was like, there's no
It's
way one guy was just
Yeah,
standing there
that
just
is
holding
true.
it.
I didn't think about that one, but the one that they did mention is um there's that weird shot of Michael's wife laying on the bed, and it's like a weird sideways shot that's sort of like that like floats over her while she's like
Mhm.
on the bed. It's a really weird shot that kind of comes out of nowhere. But they tried to do it by hand and it kept looking weird. So they attached it to like a boom pole of like a C stand to like
Mhm.
put lights or whatever. And then they just like held it out and extended. And it's funny because there's an interview with like the DP or the guy, the camera operator, whoever,
Mhm.
and he's like, the whole goal was to not break these rules. Yet you can literally see me breaking the rule because you see my reflection holding up this stand with the camera
Mhm.
when when we break the rule and boom it over this lady. But
Interesting.
that is one of the rules broken because they attached it to a stand and used that to like make it look like it was like falling over her or something.
Okay. Dude, what could be the second one? Did they maybe use a filter?
It is not the filter one.
Because I remember a scene where it was kind of orangey looking, very orangey but that might have been just a light.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. There's one more that maybe could be it, but I don't think so. The scene where he's in his room,
Uh-huh.
he's sleeping and the phone rings. That is, it's completely dark. I think that's during the night. Maybe they shot it during the day. But
See, you got it right. I don't know about that particular scene,
mhm.
but that is the correct one. They did
Okay.
film one scene where he admits that he put like they put like black fabric to block out the light because it was supposed to
Mhm.
be like later in the evening or at night, but they were filming it in the day.
Okay.
And they put up black fabric around all the windows so that way it would look like nighttime.
That's interesting. It's weird
Yeah.
that he broke his own rules, but it's
In the
funny.
very first movie. I would understand once you've already made one or two or
Yep.
three or a bunch,
Yep.
but yeah, it's they immediately broke the rules, and I don't know if any Dogma movie that's ever been made has ever actually done it without breaking any of the rules.
It's hard because they're
It's
very
very
specific.
hard.
I mean, I understand
Very
the ones with like no special effects, of course, but
Yeah.
some of them are a bit extreme.
Yeah, it's a little extreme, but this movie is a really cool movie, and the
Mhm.
one reason that I really wanted to check it out was because I had heard that it was a big influence on Succession.
Yep.
And for all the Succession fans listening, I highly recommend checking out the celebration if you need your fix after the finale last month. This definitely will give it to you. And
Mhm.
there are some interviews where Adam McKay and Jeremy Strong have both discussed this film. Um, and it very much, there's a great review on Letterbox that's like Festin or the celebration makes a family gathering of Succession look like playtime or something.
Mhm.
But it really is a similar kind of vibe. Maybe not as dark though.
Mhm. I
As
wanted.
dark.
I mentioned last time I wanted to watch at least start Succession
Uh-huh.
before this one. I didn't manage because also the Bear season 2 came out, which I also didn't get to.
Uh,
which I was also excited for, but I promise I'm gonna watch it in the next 2 weeks. I'm gonna start the first episode in the next 2 weeks. Just be prepared for that.
yes, sir. And honestly, I think it might help that you've seen the celebration before
Maybe, yeah,
Succession. I
because I'm
think you'll
very
see some
interested.
similarities.
Mhm. I'm very interested to see those similarities and just how that plays out.
Yeah,
But yeah,
100%. So do you have a favorite part of this movie? I know it's hard for something as dense as this to have
yeah,
a favorite part, but at least for me, I don't know, did you kind of catch the comedy or see any of the comedy throughout the movie as well?
definitely. It was very
Okay.
comedic at times.
Yes.
Danish people have a very interesting and weird, but very funny sense of humor.
Yeah, very dark from what I can
Very
gather.
dark and it's very different from Western, not Western, I mean they're Western as well, but I feel like American or even just European
Yeah.
sort of like sense of humor. It's just very dark, but it's super funny at times.
Yeah.
There was one scene that is my favorite scene that was so funny to me, and I went back to like watch it again. The youngest brother, when
Yeah.
he's like the dad comes in, he's like, I need you or like someone else, I need you to be there in like 5 minutes in that room. Your dad needs you to be there.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
he's like, I'm not gonna make it. And you just
Yeah.
see him running with his pants down. He's just trying to keep it up, and he falls down. And then there's this one shot of him. The camera just pans down. He's running, but the way he's
Right.
running is so funny. I don't know if he's like spraying something on his hand, like hair
Yeah.
gel or something. He just like tries to get something in his hand and just runs in such a funny fashion across the screen. That was
Yeah.
just hilarious. I don't know why it looked so funny, but
That
do you
was a
remember
good bit
this?
of like, of course, he's like running
Yeah,
around, his pants are down, and then he
yeah,
gets there, and Dad's like, "I don't have time for this right
yeah.
now."
I
And
can't do
they
this. We
don't
go,
end up having the
yeah,
conversation anyway.
they go hunting, and he just
Yeah,
tried his best to get there on time to please his dad, but
it's
yeah.
it's it was really funny, and the one favorite scene of mine as well, which I already mentioned, is the part where all the waiters are going around with the keys, and it
Mhm.
becomes so hectic. They're like, "What do we do?" They're like, "Just throw it in the oven," and they're
Yep,
just throwing all these keys into like the oven and stuff, and
it's gone now.
um, yeah,
Yep,
the whole dynamic of those people behind the scenes sort of knowing, and then it would cut to them and they're listening to it like on like the speaker.
yep, yep.
And it was a weird contrast. It went from like being so funny to like, damn, like these people are really kind of like sitting here
Mhm.
listening to this really intense, awful thing.
Yep.
Um, but this movie is really interesting in the way that it depicted like the people's reaction to it.
Mhm.
It almost didn't feel real. How they all look up, they're like, "Oh, he just said this awful thing," and then none of the people acknowledge it at all. Did that kind of like throw you through a loop, or make you think anything in particular?
That definitely confused me because I was like, why is no one reacting? There was that one guy who like clapped after the toast because he didn't even listen, and
And
everyone
then
just turns
the
around
young
looking
brother
at
had to
him.
like tap him on the shoulder. He's like, "No."
That was super funny. But I was
It's
like, it
fucking
was very
hilarious.
surreal because I was like, why is no one acknowledging what just happened?
Yeah,
Which is the point, of course, because I think the director wanted you to, after the film, just feel like you were part of this family gathering where something bad happened and you're just like laying in bed at night just thinking about, wait, what just happened at this event? What
exactly.
like, what just happened? And that I definitely liked. But I was it's frustrating to watch it because you're like, why is no one doing something? Why is no one
Yeah,
saying something or even just going to the guy telling like, I'm sorry what happened, or yelling at the dad, what the F
yeah.
did you do? Like, I don't know. Did you
It's
feel the same way?
Oh yeah, I think saying like it feeling surreal is like the best way to put it,
Hmm.
because I think it's supposed to also sort of highlight, and I think Vinterberg said this when I was looking up some interviews, how
Hmm.
it's like when there is like abuse in a home or in a family, many times the family will just sort of be in denial and just never acknowledge it, because
Yeah.
that would force them to come to terms with the fact that their father or mother or child
Hmm.
did this awful thing,
Yep.
whatever it may be in whatever situation. So it was really just heightened. And I think that's why I really enjoyed this movie, is because it it really balances that surrealism with ultra realism at the
Yep.
same exact time. And that's
Hmm.
something I really, really love. And the use of like the home video camera literally
Hmm.
makes it feel like it's a home video. Like you
Yep.
were there and someone like your goofy cousin was filming the
Mhm.
60th birthday party of your uncle or something.
Yep. Yep. Did you know what this film was about before you watched it? Did you read
No,
it?
I went in completely blind.
Okay, same. Because when he read the toast,
Yeah.
I was in shock because at first
So
I was
was
like,
I.
and then he dropped that bomb, and I was like, wait. And then I saw no one reacting, like really, like
Yes.
I was like, wait, did I just hear that correctly? And I went
So
back.
did I. So did I.
I was like, did I just hear like what is happening right now? That's what I was just they made that very well because
Oh
you're
yeah.
questioning yourself. You're like, should I react? What am I supposed to do? Like,
Yeah. It's a
it's
perfect
crazy.
like experience that because I mean word for I'm sure we had the exact same response. Like literally out loud, I was like, what? I was like,
Yeah,
wait,
same.
what?
Same. I was like, what? Did I just hear that correct? Like, I
It,
went back. I was like, no way. Did he
same.
just say that? And no one reacted. And it
Same. I
came
had to
out of
rewind
nowhere.
immediately. Out of
There was
absolute nowhere.
no
And I
hint
like
before that.
yeah, I kind of like that. I like that a lot too, that it's just we are so in the dark the entire
Yep.
time. Um And yeah, did you do any research? Do you know what this film is based on or the inspiration for Vinterberg's? Okay, so this is a pretty interesting story.
Hmm.
Um, so Vinterberg was inspired to write it. There was this like broadcast, like on this like Danish radio station
Hmm.
of um this guy who had said that he like he was like in a mental facility or something like that, I think. And
Hmm.
he had said um that the same thing sort of happened, like that his father had sexually abused him at some
Hmm.
point, or no, I'm sorry, had sexually abused him and his sister. Something very similar to this,
Hmm.
like almost the exact same thing. And the sister had gone crazy, and this guy was put into like a mental institution because of it.
Hmm.
Um, and so he hears this on this like radio station. He's like, wow, um this is really kind of insane.
Hmm.
And hold on, I'm gonna pull up one thing about it because I want to make sure I get the order of this
Hmm.
correctly. Because I
Yep.
listened to it after, or I mean read it afterwards, and I was like, whoa, what?
Hmm.
So let me pull up this one part. I just want to make sure I don't speak out of turn.
Hmm.
Um but so it no, stop bringing up another round. I want to see the celebration. Um anyway, I can't find the detail, but I hope I don't mess it up.
Okay.
Anyway, so he hears this story on this radio of this guy who's talking about it, and he's like, "This is so interesting." So he goes to speak to this guy in person, and the guy, the this guy who was on the radio, he was in the mental institution. He essentially tells this whole story
Hmm.
about very similar circumstances that happened, and he said that his sister had died because of it. And they were like, whoa. So if Vinterberg hears this, he's like, I'm going to base something on this sort of story, goes to a writer. A few like months go by, and there's this like journalist in Denmark. He's like, hey, I've pretty much done all the digging that there is to dig
Hmm.
on this story because I'm so intrigued by it as well. And there is absolutely no burial site anywhere on this planet for his sister. There is no grave. There's no this person is not dead. They go to the family. The family's like, what? We have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. They're like, she's not dead. Like, there's not. No, this hasn't
Hmm.
happened. So they go back to this guy. They're like, what's going on? And he says that he made it up. That he made up this story. And Vinterberg. This is like after the film was already made, but he's like, but I really appreciate you making this film kind of for me. And they're like, but he's like, but I made this up. Like, this is not a real thing. So fast forward then another couple years, the story's not over. The celebration is out. And it was kind of like a big deal, especially like out there in like Vinterberg. Like it was like a pretty big thing when it came out.
Hmm.
Um, and Vinterberg is out there like on the street or in a store or something. and a woman comes up to him and says, "Hi, are you Thomas Vinterberg? You directed Festin?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." And she goes, "I have something to tell you." She goes, "My friend is a nurse at a mental facility,
Mhm.
and she was the nurse to the young man who you based this story off, the one who made up the thing."
Mhm.
Now, this woman, this nurse, her sister did kill herself because she was sexually assaulted by their father. And she told that story to that guy in the mental facility. And he took that story and made it his own. And Vinterberg's like, "Whoa, what?" He's like, "So it was real?" He's like, "Yes." And he asks, like, he's like, "Can I get in context?" She's like, "No." She doesn't really want to like relive it. She doesn't want to like talk about it. But she's like,
Yeah.
"My friend, like, that's my friend's story." And she told it to that guy when he went to the mental hospital that she was a nurse at. And he stole that story that she told him and told it on this radio story, some or radio station. And that's how Vinterberg heard it.
Holy shit. That's a movie like by itself.
In and of itself, that right there is like a damn documentary.
What the
Yeah.
dude?
And like I
Okay.
said, definitely research and I'll send you some links. I might have butched some of the details, but that's essentially the
Yeah.
basis of the story behind this film.
So this guy was just like crazy and she was his nurse and told him about her
He
trauma.
went because he went because I think he made I think it's he went to I think his father's birthday and he made some kind of grand accusation of some kind or
Mhm.
some acted a fool or did something. So he
Yeah.
was put in a mental facility. And when he was there, the nurse tells him this story about how her sister had killed herself because he her father had sexually abused her. Um so this guy tells a story where he kind of combines his what
Yeah.
happened with him and this woman's story into one thing, which ended up being the celebration. He's like, "Yeah, this happened to me and my sister. We were abused. So I got up at that family dinner and I told everyone
Mhm.
about it." And yeah.
This is interesting because in the film when he says that, like everyone acts like he is mentally ill and they even
Oh
try
yeah.
they beat him up trying like stop doing this, you're
Yes.
insane.
Yeah.
So that is crazy how that like whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very crazy story. When I was reading that, I was like, whoa. I was like, this is like you said, I was like, this is a movie in and of itself. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is crazy.
Dude. I didn't know there was this much backstory to the film, and it makes me like the movie even more.
Yeah, and it's one of those that might be a hard movie to revisit or
Definitely.
rewatch, but
Yeah.
I feel like knowing more about it almost makes you more interested in being like, I think I might run this back again,
Yeah.
like, sometime soon to really experience it. And even I found myself to really enjoy kind of that home video look, which typically I tend to back away from when I see like that ultra gritty,
Mhm.
pixelated kind of movie, like a 28 Days Later, even or something like that.
Mhm.
But I really, really liked it. And I think it actually benefited the film a lot than if it would have been shot traditionally on film
Mhm.
or even a nice, camera.
Mhm. And I like how some of it feels kind of cheap.
Oh
Like the
yeah,
acting is kind of sometimes over the top.
yeah,
I just think it fits perfectly with like the chaotic craziness of this because we talk about films like I don't know, Uncut Gems or TV shows like The Bear, which are
yeah.
chaotic and anxiety inducing. This is nothing compared to this
Oh
because
yeah,
this truly is this is pure chaos.
oh yeah,
Some of the scenes are just wild. There's so much going on. The camera just zooms in and zooms out, and so many Dutch angles and just going
oh
back.
yeah.
It's so many people talking, and then you just zoom in on different people's faces, and you're like, what is going on?
Yeah, and like you said, with like those zoom ins, it feels like a
Mhm.
documentary. Like someone's like, "This is the
Yeah.
most fucked up episode of The Office I've ever seen,"
Yeah.
and like that's kind of what it feels like. It was shot like The Office.
Yeah. I kind of wonder now, and that's also what I asked when I watched the film. Do you think there was another speech in the other envelope he had?
Oh,
Because he had two envelopes. He asked them, which one do you want? Do you think he
yeah.
just read out of his like he just read one?
Interesting. I didn't even think about that. I wonder. Well, was the other one the suicide note?
No, the suicide note, the sister found it and hid it.
She hid it. But then one of the waitresses found it and gave it to Christian, right?
Yep.
Like the one he was kind of like hooking up with or whatever.
Mhm. Yep.
I wonder what was in that other one then. I'm really curious. But
Yes,
yeah,
that's
no,
what I'm wondering. Like, did he have a different speech prepared about the same topic? Maybe something else? Was it just the illusion of choice? Maybe he had nothing written down and just talked freely. I kind of
mhm.
wondered about that.
Yeah, I wonder if yeah, or like was one. Yeah, I have no idea. I think it might have been like an illusion kind of thing where it's like, yeah, why don't you go ahead and pick? But either way, it was either going to be the same thing or like one of them maybe was just blank or
Mhm.
something like that. I don't know. I didn't really even think about that or catch that immediately.
Yeah, it's just an interesting choice by the director why he would do that to give him like a choice. I'm sure
Yeah,
there maybe there have been like there was a reason for it, but
yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, any final thoughts sort of on Celebration, Dogma,
Mhm.
Vinterberg? How do you? I know you are a fan of Vinterberg. I know you've seen another round. You've seen The Hunt as
Mhm.
well, right?
I haven't seen The Hunt yet.
Okay,
On my watch list as well, but
I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts on them. That's a great. I think that was my first Vinterberg movie was The Hunt.
mhm.
Um, and it's a dark watch, but it's a really good movie. And
Mhm.
obviously Mads is
Yep.
amazing, the best Danish actor of all time. So, but highly
Was
recommend.
this your favorite of his, or do you like The Hunt or Another Round more?
Mm.
Have you seen just the three?
I've just seen those. I looked up his
Yeah.
filmography after. I'm like, this guy probably has a bunch of awesome movies. And then the other ones seem like real sort of deep cutty, like apart from those three.
Mhm.
I don't know. I A part of me wants to say the celebration might have been my favorite because it's so
Mhm.
right up my alley. Like the
Mhm.
way that it's shot, the chaos. I love just like
Yep.
anxiety inducing shit. I
Mhm.
love that it's like Succession. I love the
Yep.
way that it's shot. It feels like a documentary. Like it's
Mhm.
so
This
up my alley.
this is kind of feels like the last couple of weeks coming together to build the perfect film for you because it has a documentary aspect,
Yeah.
succession, the
Yes.
anxiety aspect, everything yeah, you kind of talked about and watched the last couple of weeks just came together.
Exactly. Like we've said 100 times, this is the biggest. This podcast, there are no more coincidences in
Mhm.
any other form of media than this
Yep.
podcast. Literally everything
Absolutely.
comes together in this pod.
Absolutely.
But I think I might venture to say that this was my favorite. I'm assuming maybe you're a little more partial to another round.
Yeah, probably. But now that we talked about this film, I actually like it more
Yeah.
like, as a
Heck yeah.
film because I just know more about it and it's still very messed up. And
Hmm.
I don't know if I can. I'll definitely maybe I'm going to rewatch it at some point, but it's hard to rewatch it because it's very heavy
It is
and it grips you. And it, like even after you finish it, it's still on my mind and it's going to be on my mind for
a long time.
some time,
Yeah.
which is a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I and like we've talked about Von Trier in the past too. It's kind of made me interested in finally going to check out some of his movies as well, since I've
Hell
been
no.
so.
Nope, not for me. Not for me. You go ahead, enjoy, but
I'm
do
curious to check out his Dogma entries, like his early movies, to see his Dogma stuff. I'd be
which
curious.
one of his films?
So his Dogma. So this was Dogma number one.
How many
Um,
were there?
Dogma movies.
Yeah.
There's a decent amount. Like Harmony Korine did one in the U.S. He has like the only American Dogma movie. That's the
What,
director of Gummo. He did the movie Julian Donkey Boy. That's like his Dogma. Let me
does,
see.
what does dogma mean? Is there a meaning to the word? Isn't there a Kevin Smith film called
Called
Dogma?
Dogma. I don't really know what Dogma means. I always thought Dogma was sort of like a foundation or something, like we're laying the foundation for this. It's the Dogma. I have no idea.
Hmm. What have you seen
Um
the Kevin Smith film? What's that? Does that have any correlation to this, or just like just called Dogma?
I'm not sure. I don't Okay, dogma, the definition is something considered as an established opinion.
Hmm.
Um, Dogma, in the broad sense, is any belief held unquestioningly, and with undefended certainty, mainly stemming from religion.
Okay.
I don't know about the Kevin Smith movie. I've never seen it.
He's religious. He's very much in the Christian community, so it might just be like a
Kev,
religious
Kevin
film.
Smith is.
Yeah.
Um, I heard something about Kevin Smith recently that I don't know if he actually said this. I'm actually going to Google it to see if it's true. But
Hmm.
he said something like in some interview, he said something like, "There's no point in watching any movie that came out before 1970." Or something like ridiculous like that. He's like, "Don't watch anything. There's nothing to learn from any movie that came out before 1970," or something like that.
Damn.
Something ridiculous. I could be butchering this or making it up, but I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
Um, he said something similar to like that I just heard this
Hmm.
week. So it's funny you mentioned him.
Yeah.
But the Dogma. So
Hmm.
the movie that came after. Wait, where's like a list of these? Okay, so Dogma number two
Hmm.
is Von Trier's movie The Idiots,
Okay.
which came out in '98, same year as this.
Hmm.
Which I've heard is I I've heard is very problematic, but people have said it's also very funny. It's
Hmm.
I think these people who um they just go out in public and start acting like they're mentally disabled.
Hmm.
And I think the film is well known because there's an unsimulated sex scene. Like he literally films people having like the actors having actual sex.
Honestly, it doesn't surprise me with Lars von Trier because I think, yeah, it's good that he's not allowed to because nowadays, especially in the US, you're not allowed to.
Yeah.
I saw a video about that recently. Like, even if you want to, you are not allowed
Yeah.
to actually have a sex scene, which honestly may have been like that's a rule. Maybe that rule was made for Lars von Trier, honestly. So,
Maybe. I remember I watched well, this is funny, another coincidence. I watched The Last Tango in Paris this past week as well. Are
mhm.
you familiar with
Yep,
that film? The Marlon
I
Brando
am.
has
I am.
quite the reputation behind it.
Hmm.
And that was one movie where there is something that's like they don't have I don't think they're actually having sex, but the girl did not know that he was going to essentially like try to have sex with her on
I've heard
camera.
about. I've heard
Yeah,
about the story.
which
Yeah.
was really weird, but I always thought that it was going to be like an actual like, oh, Marlon Brando has unsimulated sex in this movie.
Hmm.
Um which wasn't the case, but still was egregious what they did in that movie. But I was gonna say, have you seen Starlet with the Sean Baker movie?
I have.
I
Great
love
film.
that movie. That movie has unsimulated sex in it too.
It does.
It does. And I think the way they hit it is that they filmed one scene with that main actress. I forget her name. It's Ernest Hemingway's like
Yeah.
granddaughter or something.
Yep. But that
Um,
wasn't her. The
it
one.
was they hired two porn actors where
Yeah.
they shot the body parts for the porn
Mhm.
actors, like actually having sex. And then
Mhm.
they did another take with her where it was just like her face. So they would cut back and forth
Mhm.
between the two.
So that
Um,
way it's allowed because it wasn't the actress.
Exactly. It was like pornographic actors who do that like for a living.
Dude, I hope Lars von Trier doesn't listen to this podcast because don't give him ideas.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm
That's
telling you,
true.
don't give this man ideas. He might just
Can we
be like,
find a way
oh,
to
interesting. You can do that. And then
can we find a way to block Lars von Trier's IP from viewing any of our content?
please, please. He might find it now because we did this episode and talked about
Yeah.
this film, but
Um,
Jesus Christ.
but anyway, to wrap it up, I feel like I already know both of our answers for this. But
Hmm.
on a scale of 1 to 10, I don't even know what's 1 to 10 car keys, 1 to 10 suicide
Hmm.
notes. I don't know.
Let's go
What
car keys.
Let's do car keys. How many
Mhm.
car keys are you literally Christian uh in this movie?
Zero. Zero, and I'm
Yeah,
glad it's zero. I hope it never goes up. It's zero. I feel bad for the guy.
very much so. One thing I'm a clear zero as well. But one thing I want
Mhm.
to mention, did you notice the posters or like on Letterbox, all the photos had him with this really god awful like landing strip like goatee thing and then it's never in the movie
Yeah,
ever.
which is I read about that because I
Oh,
saw
did you?
one of the letterbox reviews talk about how awful his like landing strip
Yeah.
thing is. I don't even know. Did they? maybe make that poster afterwards, and he had to have it on. Why
for
didn't they
something else.
Photoshop it out?
It's so weird because it looks so bad. It looks
Hmm.
awful.
Dude,
Um,
maybe it's a dogma rule. No Photoshop in the poster. So that's the 11th rule.
the 11th rule
Yep.
must have a soul patch in all
Hmm.
promotional content.
Yep.
And then like you mentioned last week, this dude is from the Thing remake, which was so weird to see because
Hmm.
I did not get that until you said that. I was like, holy shit, that is, and I don't know if I would have noticed had you have
Hmm.
not said that last week before we watched. Um,
But how many other dogma movies out there? We can list them. Like we have some more time if you want.
yeah, there is. So it just has like a list of like the popular, like the most well
Hmm.
known dogma, and the last one on this list is Dogma 28.
Okay.
Um, so there's at least 28. There could be more. I'm really interested in checking out Julian Donkey Boy, the only American Dogma movie that Harmony Korine did. Are you familiar with Harmony Korine at all?
Nope.
He did the film Gummo. Are you? I'm sure you've heard of Gummo at
Yep.
least.
Heard of Gamo, yes.
And then he also wrote the movie Kids, which was like a huge independent New York film here, which is a
Haven't heard about that.
brutal watch.
Hmm.
Um, but he makes this movie called Julian Donkey Boy with Chloe Sevigny, and Werner Herzog plays the father in that movie.
Okay.
Um, I'm really interested in checking out. Harmony Korine makes movies that really like get under my skin. That's why I've still have never seen Gummo because I'm like I
Hmm.
feel like this is going to make me very uncomfortable.
Yep.
And but I'm interested in checking that out. Essentially, I guess that movie is about this young kid who's like dealing with schizophrenia.
Hmm.
And the whole family's trying to deal with it. And Chloe Sevigny, I think, is like his sister, and Werner
Hmm.
Herzog is his dad. Um, but it's supposed to be a Dogma movie, and I think follows all the rules of Dogma.
Hmm.
Um, oh no, he broke a few of the Dogma rules. They stipulate all the camera work must be handheld, but this film uses hidden cameras that are technically not handheld.
Hmm.
It also uses non-diegetic music by like playing music, like in like one scene,
Hmm.
and then it shows his name at the end. He just couldn't resist putting
Nope.
his name
Nope.
at the end, which I get it. I probably do the exact
Yep.
same thing.
Yeah. But that's a
Uh,
very interesting premise. I might check that one out as
yeah,
well sometime.
I would love to talk about it with you. I would think it would be good for us to hold hands and jump into a Harmony Korine together. I feel
Yep.
like he's just like an American Lars von Trier in a weird way, sort of
Oh God, no.
provocateur, but
God, no.
a lot cooler of a dude. From interviews, he seems
Okay.
like an actual super cool guy.
Hmm.
Who
Might be
came up
easier
to
if we
like,
share
yeah,
the
the trauma together.
yep, the trauma.
Yeah, and that one's definitely going to be on the watch list though. And I do recommend the movie Kids as well. I might
Okay.
give that another rewatch. It's a little heavy, but it's a really great
Mhm.
movie.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so I
Mhm.
it's time, folks. If you know the drill at this point, this week was my choice, which means next week's film will be from Dino's list. So what we'll do is Dino's going to spin the random number generator. I'm going to pull up his list in just 1 second, and we will see which
Mhm.
movie. Where is
Mhm.
which movie we will be seeing next week? No, 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 no,
Let me know
no.
when you're ready.
Where is this list? Okay,
Mhm.
I am. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, let's go. Give me number 16.
Number 16. Okay, I've never seen this movie, and
Okay.
it is 2009's Black Dynamite.
Okay. Okay. We're going into more from this traumatic film
This
to a very funny film.
is it a very funny movie?
It's one of the funniest films I've ever seen.
Really? Is it sort of
It's
about like what's that Dolomite sort of?
I
My name
haven't
is
seen that
Dolomite.
one.
Okay, okay.
I haven't seen it, but it's a very, very funny. It's like one of those. It's called like black exploitation.
Black exploitation, yeah.
Yeah. And the comedy is on point. I think you're gonna like it. There's so
Hell
many
yeah.
memorable and funny scenes that I'm sure you're gonna love, and that we can quote next
Hell
week.
yes. I
Yep.
feel like this is something I'm gonna really like a lot because I love like the traditional 70s black exploitation movies. And
Mhm.
I guess this all is it takes place in the 70s.
I think so, yeah.
Heck yeah. This looks
Or like the
awesome.
80s maybe, but
Hell yeah. And
it's
it's available everywhere. Hulu,
dude,
Amazon Prime,
yep,
Tubi. You can watch
yep.
this thing everywhere. And has a great cast.
It has an amazing cast, and it's seriously like I'm not even like exaggerating. This movie is on a different level funny.
Fuck yeah. Well, I'm always looking for comedy. You know me.
Yep.
So I'm
You're
super
gonna,
excited.
dude, I just know already you're gonna fuck with this film. Trust me.
Damn. I'm
Trust
like
me.
I might go crazy and watch this shit today.
Mhm. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
This looks
I
super dope because I've
Mhm.
heard of this movie. And like I said, I love like the black exploitation period of like the
Mhm.
70s. Um, so I already know like I'm gonna love
Mhm.
this movie. Like I already know.
I remember when I made that list, I don't know how many, like 4 months, how long we started.
Yeah.
When I first made it, this was one of the first films I put in, and I looked it up and I saw you haven't seen it yet, at least you didn't log it.
I
And
haven't seen it. Yeah.
I was like, no way did he not watch that. I was so excited to put it in.
Hell
And
yeah.
this came back to me, like how excited I was because I was like, he's gonna love this film if he hasn't seen it.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
And all
Mhm.
things come back around on this on literally me.
Yeah. Perfect.
I'm super excited for any of you guys who want to, watch along with us and tune in. Like I said, at least in the States, it's available on Tubi, Hulu, and Amazon Prime, it says.
Mhm.
So you got your wide range of options there. And if you can, avoid Tubi at all costs. Avoid those ads if you
Yeah.
can.
If you don't know
Um,
why, listen to last week's episode or just start watching something on Tubi and
on Tubi, and you'll
you'll figure
see,
it out.
or listen to anything in the last 4 weeks of this podcast because I complain
Mhm.
about it every single week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super excited to check out Black Dynamite, and for
Mhm.
anyone who listened to the celebration episode and hasn't seen it, go out and see it. You can rent
Yep.
it, you can watch it on Criterion, yeah, you got options.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I'm super excited for Black Dynamite.
Yep. Same. Same. And I'm
All
excited
right,
to watch Succession now after seeing the
it
celebration.
the celebration I think is a great foundation because Succession will be a lot lighter than
Okay.
the
That's
celebration.
I'm relieved to hear that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it goes to some intense places, but never quite the extent of the
Mhm.
celebration or Festin. I like calling it Festin. I like that name a lot.
I like the name more as well. Festin is
Yeah,
just such a cool name.
great
The
name.
celebration just doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, I know Festin though. It's a good
Festin
Festin. Yeah,
sounds,
I
yep,
like the Danish language.
yep. Because
All right.
fest in German means like tight. Like if you tie something
Oh,
like tight, so fest or like hard.
oh,
Yeah.
interesting. That's what it
But it's
means
also
in
fest is also a celebration.
normal. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was where I was like, oh, Oktoberfest, is that like the same? Like, yeah.
It is, it's called,
Okay.
it's also like a party celebration, but
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, another great episode in the books. Thanks everyone for listening for 13 episodes now.
Yep.
Plus one, so 14 episodes technically.
Hmm.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye bye.
See ya.